It's lovely.
Could you talk a little bit about the lead up to Expo and the redevelopment South Bank site and the role of the council vis-a-vis the state government in that?
Yes, well that was I suppose I would have to describe my relationship with Joe, and that was who my relationship was with, as prickly. And so there was a lot of negotiating that had to go on. And in the lead up to the council, there was a lot of negotiation, mainly at the officer level, about what the council was responsible for in terms of infrastructure and works and sewerage and all that sort of stuff.
Because you already had a battle with Joe over the tall building project.
I think that came later, wasn't it? That was later.
It was 87.
Yes. And you're having to remind me of the trajectory and the dates quite a lot, because bearing in mind that I haven't really thought about a lot of this detail, so this is a very good exercise for me. And perhaps we'll have to do it again when I've actually thought about it better. Yes, the lead up to Expo went fairly well. Everything happened. Of course, then the state government had its own turmoil. It was when the sort of Joe was going off to... Well, hang on, so I must have had their fight with Joe about the tall building. Must have been before Expo.
It was 87, but obviously the lead up to Expo as well.
I think it was the tallest building and the chlorine plant.
But the lead up to Expo, there were before that.
Yes, because I'm just remembering that Michael Hearn was the premier for Expo. And then, of course, there was a lot of carrying on with Lou Edwards after Expo. And one of the making sure I had been to, in 1986, on the way to Edinburgh to hand over the flag for Commonwealth Games, I had been to Canada to have a look at the Expo site there in Vancouver. And I realised then that they were in a bit of a mess because they had made no plans at all. And in 1984, when I won an American scholarship to look at local government in the States, I had asked to go to New Orleans because they were having Expo then. And they were totally unprepared, total mess. And that, of course, was a good experience because when I came back, I was nagging about us getting ready in time. When I went to Vancouver, I realised they had made no plans, or they were just starting planning for what was going to happen to Expo afterwards. So this chap Stanley Kwok, who was the big developer of that Expo site, came out and we had a seminar in City Hall and we started planning. So we were planning for what was going to happen after Expo, before Expo was actually happening, which I don't think anybody else had thought about, because Joe had said the Expo will not cost the people of Brisbane anything. We will sell off all that land and we will recoup the money that we have spent. Well, of course, by that stage I realised that would have been an appalling planning decision to have had. I used to say we don't want to have North Sydney and South Brisbane. You know how North Sydney is competing, apart from the fact that it detracts from the CBD. Good, I could actually look at the CBD and describe these things. So I didn't want to have an alternate or rival CBD over on South Bank. So we decided what we wanted, and there was a lot of sort of work done on the kind of thing we were going to have, but that required a lot of argument and negotiating. As I say, I think I went through about 4 state premiers on that. Yes, Joe, Mike, Russell Cooper, and Wayne Gotts. But my main fights were with Lou Edwards, who really was sort of digging. I mean, I think Lou sort of, really regarded himself as after, and I'm not surprised, he did very well at Expo and was sort of, the king of Expo, but I think he wanted to be the king after Expo. And so we had a few sort of, dust-ups on that.